Thanks for tuning in. Well, today I am here on Cindy Dean Music Page to talk about something that it's actually probably not just music related always, because I'm going to talk about 3 tips to inspire you to pick up your instrument, to help you get focused again if you've been in a slump, started to lose motivation. It's not actually something that will always apply to musicians, because athletes could experience the same thing and that sort of thing. But today we're more specifically talking about musicians and playing your instrument, because right now we're in a different circumstance and time than we've ever been in. So we're going to go over 3 things in particular today that hopefully will help you. And then I just want to say thank you for tuning in today. If you're watching on the replay, that's fine. I'm going to come back to you and answer your questions. I want you to join in on the conversation. It would be super awesome no matter when you're watching if you show me your likes, your hearts, your love, your comments, emojis, that kind of thing, because Facebook responds to that and it shares the post more, and we want this to help as many people as we can. So if you sprinkle this around your friends and you're participating, whether it's now or later, below that, it's all, I'm going to come back and check on you. The video is not going to come down right away or anything. So there's that. Now, if you'd like the show notes from today's show, the tips, just comment #show notes below and I'll contact you and we'll get that to you. Okay, so let's get started. So if you're a musician, I'm a musician, I'm a teacher, music teacher. There's a lot going on right now. Everything is completely different with our COVID-19 pandemic currently. And you might be feeling like you're at a loss. You might be frustrated. You may have lost income, or maybe you're not playing for income, but you've lost your connection with fellow musicians that you play with, and performances and things you were looking forward to in either situation coming up. And so it's normal, there's going to be a time of grief, so to speak. So, but give yourself permission to feel that way, and then let's get up and get moving and see what we can do about it to get out of the funk. Because there's so many ways to approach things. So these aren't the be-all end-all, but this is hopefully will help you get started. So you need to find a focus and create a plan. So when you find a focus, it's easier to get started. And maybe right now you just don't even have any focus at all. And that's okay. It might take a little time. But give yourself permission to feel however you feel. Hi, thanks for joining us. And I can't see you unless you comment below who you are. But we're talking about some tips for practicing and getting inspired again, and maybe getting refocused. So one of the things to do is to really think about what you can do starting out day by day. Now, depending on what level you're at, it's going to be different. Your plan and your focus you create are going to be different. If you're a beginner, I teach a lot of beginners, they've lost their friends and ensembles at school. So it's a different thing. They're needing to work on technique and things that they're not even sure what they need to work on. So if you're a beginner, you probably need to just keep working with a private teacher to kind of help guide you. But you, even as a beginner, you can speak up about what you love to play. Like if there's songs that you're interested in learning, and your teacher can help you with that. But if you're, a professional or a seasoned, semi-pro or whatever you want to call yourself, it doesn't matter. You, like any musician or even athlete, can figure out what your plan of attack is just by sitting down and kind of brainstorming. Okay, so start with one day. Maybe it's as simple as you got to just take your mouthpiece and your instrument out of the case and buzz for horn. And you're like, that sounds horrible. And then you want to do it again or whatever. And you just plan of attack. So it could be that you maybe only start planning a day at a time. And then once you get going, sometimes it'll just help you build momentum and then plan for more later. So if you're planning for the week, then you can start to jot down things in a practice log or just like a notebook. Depending on where you are in practicing, that's going to be different for all of you. So plan for the day. Start that way. Then once you get momentum, then start planning for the week. Maybe you need to take a day off. Maybe you need to play every day to keep your momentum going. And maybe it doesn't even have to be that long. Hi, thanks for joining us. If you comment below, then I'll get to see who you are. So it could just be you find one thing that you want to start working on, and you go from there. It could even just be you need to force yourself to pick up your instrument and just say, okay, I'm going to play for 5 minutes and just start that way. And then all of a sudden, because I always find if I haven't been playing at all of a sudden for various reasons, it's actually once I get my horn out of the case, I really want to start playing. Once I start playing, I build momentum and I want to keep going. So, and a lot of beginners can be that way too. They just have to have something to work on, and they need a little bit more guidance than somebody that's played 20, 30, 40, whatever amount of years. So find a goal, and you can create detailed plans. Maybe they're not detailed at first. Day, week, month goals. 6 months from now goals. You could plan for when this pandemic is over, you want to do a concert. Or you could plan just to learn a new solo for yourself. Maybe there's an etude book you want to get through. Maybe you want to work on your technique and you need to learn different scale patterns that you haven't done yet. Or maybe there's going to be some auditions coming up if that's what you've been doing, and you're going to find some things specifically that you hadn't had time to work on when you were preparing before. So you can kind of use the time to study more intricate details of whatever orchestral works or whatever, or if you're a vocalist, vocal pieces or whatever your audition was for. And there's other things that you can do to create plans, because you can collaborate with other musicians even online right now, or social distancing playing outside, or set up an online show. There's lots of things we can do right now, but we have to be creative. And once you kind of start your brainstorming session, you'll start to kind of think of a focus and a plan. But, you know, when you feel like you've lost all these things that you're used to having, like playing, performing, working, colleagues, seeing people, enjoying their company, performing with them, and it's all come to a halt. It's a shock. And so it's okay to be out of focus for a little bit. It's okay to not have a plan immediately. You know, there's time for you to figure it out. So sit down and kind of meditate and think about things that you enjoy doing or things that you may want to work on. Now, that's like the biggest part of one of these 3 tips. But the other one, and maybe you need to start here, is just start to reconnect, listen or to recordings or videos of the masters that inspired you in your particular instrument or focus. Listen to them again. Dig out the old recordings. Find stuff online. There's so many options nowadays. You know, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, endless. It's endless. We used to have to go to the record store, God forbid. Showing my age. But it's true. And so comment below. Do you have still a collection of something, CDs, and do you listen to them all the time? Let me know below. Do you listen to that the non-digital formatted music? Do you still have that, or is everything you listen to digital? I'm interested to know. Let me know below. But that's really that might be the biggest starting point, is just to start listening to what made you want to play again, and whoever that artist was or teacher or whatever that inspired you, and go back and think about that and listen to recordings or whatever that you can find or have at home. And then that's a second tip, but you might need to reverse them and make that the first thing you do. Because once you get inspired again, it might be easier for you to find a focus. I maybe should have switched those. But the order doesn't matter. It's just kind of like thinking about these things again and focusing on what we love about this, even if it's different right now. Okay, and then every time you practice, this is the third one, make sure you're practicing something that you love. Play something you want to play, that is easy for you, that you love how you sound at, or you think you love how you sound at, and give yourself time to enjoy that every time you play. Now, there's some people that say, how often should you practice? Every time you brush as much as you eat. So that's like every day. But maybe right now, maybe you need a day off, and maybe you don't need to play 7 days a week, you know? But you need to find that out for yourself, and that comes with finding what your goals are going to be and creating a plan of action for them. Now, hi Jonathan. We're going over 3 tips to just kind of get you practicing again if you're in a slump, and try to inspire you. But you know, I just kind of finished going over them, so what I'm going to do is do a really speedy recap. right now. And thank you for tuning in. And if you want the show notes, comment below #show notes, and I'll contact you and get that out to you. So here we go. So the speedy recap. Now, first of all, everybody's different because everyone's level is different. So like I said before, if you're a beginner, you might need a teacher to help you with some of this. But for the most part, one of the things that, and I'm going to reverse them how I talked about them, because after going over them, I realized reversing the order of two of them might help. So I'm going to start with listening and finding the artists or the teachers or people that inspired you to play your instrument or perform in the first place. Listen, dig out your old recordings, find the recordings online. As we know, there's many options nowadays. Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. You don't have to walk into a record store now. Listen to those and get your inspiration again. Because sometimes we just stop listening altogether and stop playing, and we lose why we love doing it. So listen again, watch videos again. Then once you do that, you can start to find your focus again. Oh, I really want to play. Oh, this piece is cool and I want to work on that again. You can start to find a focus, and then you can start to come up with your plan. This is the other tip, because a lot of times you can practice and you're just practicing aimlessly. So you can be as detailed as you want. And maybe at first, if you've been in a slump and you've not wanted to even pick your instrument up, it's not going to be a detailed plan maybe yet. Maybe your plan is just getting your horn out of the case or your instrument. Maybe the plan is just playing for 5 minutes just to make sure you can start playing again. Once you do that, you build momentum and you're going to get inspired, and then you're going to come up with a more detailed plan. And then maybe your plan becomes something for the week, a goal for the week. So we're goal setting with this focus. And then we're not only goal setting for the week, we could goal set for the month, and so on. And maybe it's 6 months down the line when you think the pandemic's going to be gone and you're going to do a concert because all of a sudden you learned these new solos, or it doesn't matter. Maybe you got through an etude book that you never finished. Maybe as a beginner, you strengthen some of your technique. Maybe your range is expanded and now you can learn a new piece and you want to play it for somebody. Maybe you're going to do an online concert. So it's being creative with this plan and this focus and finding a way to do something now or later. Jonathan says, mine's always out of the case, whether or not it makes it to my face. And that was another thing I meant to mention, actually. Thanks for bringing that up, Jonathan. That's awesome. That was another thing, because when I leave my horn in the case and I'm not happy about practicing, or there's nothing, like my goals have gone, or for whatever reason, if it's out of the case, I'm more likely to pick it up and practice. So leaving your instrument out, that will help. You pick it up, then do that. Yeah, so be creative about your plan. If you know that your instrument has to be out of the case in your face, then that's part of your plan. Even if it's not exactly the focused part of practicing, that might be the plan to get you to pick it up. So that's great. Thanks, Jonathan. It's an awesome point. That's why I like this, because I want this to be a place where we can help each other, and help if we're teaching our students, and keep each other inspired. And then the third thing, and this was something one of my later teachers said to me, and I don't know why I never thought of it before, but it's every time you practice, make sure you give yourself time to play something that you love playing, that you really want to play, that you sound good at, that feels easy for you. And it doesn't have to be something you memorize, but that's even better because you can just pick it off and play it. But even if it's not and you need the music, that's fine. Just something you love, because that's going to keep you going, keep your momentum building, and keep you playing. So create a plan, find your focus, be creative, and brainstorm about things that you can make your goal be. And then keep the inspiration going by listening to the masters that you love, that inspired you, and give yourself something you love to play every time you play. Those are 3 things. And one of them's a lot more detailed than the others. And there's so many directions you can go in it with. It would take like multiple live shows to go into depth, and that's not the point of this today. But I want to keep people being inspired, so I really appreciate you tuning in. Even if you're tuning in later and you're not here on the actual live, still feel free to comment below. Hi Sally, my sister is here. Still feel free to comment below. Let me know, is there something, and it doesn't even have to be musical, that you're doing now that's inspiring you? Because if even as musicians, there's other things we can do creatively, outlets that we need. My sister likes taking pictures, for example, as do I. So maybe it's like scenic photography or something. Or maybe I see a lot of people cooking. Jonathan, I saw, made a really yummy looking breakfast he posted. So there's other things that you can do that can inspire you, and use that inspiration to kind of find your focus back into music and back into focusing on what brought you there in the first place. And it might just be you need a more creative outlet to keep yourself practicing. You might not want to play something written down. Maybe you want to learn to improvise. So that's kind of like where the brainstorming part of creating your plan is going to come in. So I just want to thank you for being here. If you want the show notes, comment #shownotes below. And if you made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate that. And I will give you another PDF if you want it. You'll write #focus below, and it's 5 tips to help you find more focus. And this doesn't even have to be music related. It can be in a lot of different areas of your life. So if you want 5 tips on finding how to find focus in your life, type #focus below, and I'll contact you and get that to you. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. I hope this helps you. Sprinkle this among your friends. Let other people know about it. Hopefully somebody will get inspired by that. That's my goal. I love you guys. Listen to beautiful music. Happy practicing. Bye-bye.